If you enjoyed the high-level international panel of experts on our last webinar, Cyber Warfare and Emerging Threats, please join us in January for our next expert webinar on diplomatic issues and cultural artefacts and artistic treasures entitled Stolen, Looted and Disputed, with the Art Loss Registrar's world-renowned expert, Julian Radcliffe. Tonight, DS Automobiles is pleased to sponsor the Diplomacy in Ireland European Diplomat 2021 Diplomacy Awards. Tonight, DS Automobiles is pleased to sponsor the Diplomacy in Ireland European Diplomat 2021 Diplomacy Awards. And now, the Editor-in-Chief of Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, Micheál O'Hurley.
I have the privilege of being the Editor-in-Chief of Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat. It's not an easy job. Dealing with different diplomats from all over the world means that I'm often at the crosshairs of their disputes, and I try to stay out of them. We're dedicated to the principles upon which Ireland, the European Union, and the United Nations were founded. Tonight in our ceremony, we've celebrated people who we believe have displayed exceptional qualities as diplomats. We don't always agree with their causes, but we must celebrate their skills in the hope that they will continue to use them for the good and betterment of the world. Congratulations to every ambassador, counselor, consul, every secretary, and everyone everywhere, from NGOs throughout the world to aid workers, especially the United Nations, who does such good work in taking care of people who have food insecurity, whose lands are ravaged by warfare, and who need our help. Please consider a gift to the United Nations. Whether you give to the Human Rights Commission or whether you give to any of the other charitable causes they run, the United Nations is there in a non-judgmental way to help people on the ground who need our help. Please consider a gift, and thank you, and we'll see you in the new year. I'm Mihal O'Hurley. I want to thank Oksana Shadrina, our awards chairperson, those academics and retired diplomats who gave us recommendations, and everyone who reads our publication throughout the year. Thank you.
We take a moment tonight to honour the memory of Her Excellency Miss Laura Bernal, the late Ambassador of Argentina to Ireland. Ambassador Bernal died while serving in her post here in Ireland during the COVID-19 pandemic. Her face was well known around Ireland, especially on the streets of Foxford, County Mayo, the birthplace of Admiral William Brown, founder of the Argentine Navy. Her visits to his memorial and throughout Ireland gained her many friends amongst the Irish people and certainly amongst her fellow diplomats serving in Dublin. We award the first Diplomatic Service Medal with honours to Ambassador Bernal and extend our sympathies to her family members and the people of Argentina. Without further ado, we present tonight's next honoree. In 1945, while the world was at war, the cities of Nagasaki and Hiroshima were destroyed by nuclear weapons. In the years after, the human toll of the nuclear fallout continued to take its toll. The nuclear weapons race that ensued saw children taught to duck and cover in schools in the vain attempt to survive nuclear attacks. The klaxon sound of sirens routinely screamed in warning drills, striking fear into the hearts of populaces from one end of the globe to the other. The futility of mutually assured destruction still eluded some world powers. For his exceptional advocacy for a nuclear weapons-free world, we are proud to announce the Diplomatic Service Medal with Honours is being conferred upon His Excellency Mr. Mitsuru Kitano, Ambassador of Japan to Ireland.
Your Excellency, on behalf of Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, the Diplomatic Service Medal with Honours. Thank you, Your Ambassador.
Thank you very much. It is a great pleasure and honor.
The honor is ours.
Mr. Mihal O'Hurley, Editor-in-Chief, Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat. Ms. Oksana Shadrina, Chair of the Awards Committee, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for this distinction. I'm deeply honored to be awarded the Diplomatic Service Medal 2021. I'm not quite sure whether I'm worthy of such a tribute. However, I would like to humbly accept it. I'm truly gratified that my speech at the ceremony of Hiroshima commemoration on August 6 this year was valued as advocacy for a world without nuclear weapons by the Awards Committee. I would like to thank the Reverend Canon Patrick Comerford, President of the Irish Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament, Mr. David Hutchison Edgar, Chairperson of Irish CND, and Councillor Joe Costello, Deputy Mayor of Dublin, who are instrumental in organizing the committee, in organizing the ceremony. Without them, I would not have had an occasion to speak. In my speech, I talked about the consequences of atomic bomb, which was dropped above Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. Now the place has become the Peace Memorial Park, but it used to be a busy city area with houses, shops, and street. The atomic bomb transformed the area into no man's land. That was what I talked about. In this connection, there's another person with whom I would like to share this great honor. His name is Mr. Tanabe Masaki. He lives in Hiroshima and is currently 84 years old. He lost his father, mother, and younger brother in the atomic bomb. He himself survived but was exposed to radiation. He became a computer graphic artist. His life's passion has been to reproduce the townscape of Hiroshima, which was lost instantly in the atomic bombing using the technique of computer graphics. He wants to show the people of the world what atomic bomb brings about. Now, you may understand that what I said in my speech is my modest attempt to convey what Mr. Tanabe has tried to do in his computer graphic work of reproducing the townscape of Hiroshima. It is with a view to share the experience of Hiroshima transcending generations and borders. Our path toward a world free of nuclear weapons is not easy, but I'm convinced that to the extent that there are people like the Reverend Canon Comerford, Dr. Hutchinson Edgar, and Mr. Tanabe, we can be hopeful. I stand ready to continue to advocate practical steps for realizing a world free of nuclear weapons. I feel honored that my humble effort was recognized in such a wonderful way. Last but not least, I thank my colleagues of the embassy and my family for their great help and support. Thank you very much again.
Although the number of women in the workforce has grown over the years, real opportunities for education, promotion, inclusion and advancement remain a barrier for too many. Our next honoree is being recognised for her untiring work for equality and for organising her peers in the diplomatic corps serving in Ireland to create a universal and powerful message on the International Day of the Girl. For her remarkable leadership in the promotion of opportunities and empowerment of girls and women, Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat is pleased to honour Her Excellency Miss Anna Sohanska, Ambassador of Poland to Ireland.
And Madam Ambassador, on behalf of Diplomacy in Ireland, please receive your scroll.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Madam Ambassador, on behalf of Ireland, you receive the medal.
Thank you so much.
No worries at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Daniel Glerke. I am the current Stakeholder Engagement Officer here at Polonaise, the biggest Eastern European chain stores of in Ireland. We are committed to bring the taste of home to all Polish who think of Ireland as their home. We see ourselves as a beacon for providing Polish food, culture and tradition. For this reason, Polonaise is proud to support the Diplomacy Ireland 2021 awards and contribute to the consolidation of Polish community here in Ireland. It is our pleasure to present to you, Ambassador Sohanska, the Diplomacy Service Medal with Honours. Congratulations to you, Your Excellency, and congratulations to the Polish community here in Ireland. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. My name is Anna Sohanska. I am the Ambassador of Poland to Ireland. I am delighted and honoured to receive the Diplomatic Service Medal today. I would like to say that from the very beginning of my mission as the Ambassador of Poland to Ireland, I tried to focus on the most vulnerable people, their rights, including women and children. Last year, I decided to launch a program dedicated to girls. As the United Nations declared 11th of October International Day of the Girl Child, I thought that it would be nice to celebrate this nice occasion. That is why I invited my colleagues, ladies ambassadors, accredited to Ireland, to take part in this project. We recorded a short video and we passed a good message to all the girls in Ireland and all over the world. I thought it was important to tell them that they should not be shy while expressing their views, opinions, thoughts, and they should be confident in pursuing their goals. So I hope that this video was useful, and it was a living evidence that the dreams can come true. So thank you once more for this wonderful appreciation of my work. All the best. Merry Christmas. Girls of Ireland and all around the world. My name is Anna and I am the Ambassador of Poland to Ireland. Together with my colleagues, the other female ambassadors posted in Ireland, we wish to convey a special message to you.
Today, on 11th of October, we celebrate the International Day of the Girl.
You may not have heard about it, but we believe it is very important
to give this day the recognition it deserves.
On this occasion, we address you, our younger colleagues, our younger sisters,
to tell you this from the bottom of our hearts.
You are all unique and beautiful in your own way.
And you must try to make the best out of what life has to offer.
We, female ambassadors in Ireland,
come from different parts of the world,
from different backgrounds and have different life experiences.
But what joins us together is the fact that we all came here
to proudly represent our countries and their legacies.
For many of us, the path that led to this moment
was not always easy and posed its own problems.
So we understand that being a young girl at the beginning of your own path can be challenging,
regardless of where you come from.
But we also know that so much depends on you. So be brave.
Demand and enjoy the rights set forth in the UN Convention of the Rights of the Child. They are your rights.
No one has more power to change your life than you.
We are all different, but we are all important in our own way.
Don't try to pretend to be someone you're not.
Always be yourself and accept yourself the way you are.
You are the ultimate you, the ideal you, the perfect you.
Don't be afraid and believe in yourself.
Learn new things, go after your dreams.
Even make mistakes, we all do. But once you do, try to learn from them.
Do your best, be respectful towards others, but always demand respect on return.
Don't forget, the world is in your hands. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Happy Day of the Girl! My name is Riley, and I am the Ambassador of Finland.
My name is Yoli Samaya, and I'm the Ambassador of South Africa to Ireland.
My name is Sabine, and I'm the Chargée d'Affaires of Canada in Ireland.
My name is Daike Potzel, and I'm the Ambassador of Germany here in Ireland.
My name is Manuela, and I am the Ambassador of Romania to Ireland.
My name is Haris, and I'm the Ambassador of Cyprus.
My name is Olena Sharaput, and I am Chargée d'Affaires of Ukraine to Ireland.
My name is Carla Serazzi, and I'm the Ambassador of Chile.
My name is Katerina, and I'm the Ambassador of Greece.
My name is Dr. Emenike, and I am the Ambassador of Nigeria to Ireland.
My name is Gilan, and I'm the Ambassador of the State of Palestine to Ireland.
My name is Eliana, and I'm the Ambassador of Brazil to Ireland.
My name is Patricia, and I am the Ambassador of Colombia.
My name is Gergana, and I am the Ambassador of Bulgaria to Ireland.
My name is Anna, and I am the Ambassador of Poland to Ireland.
When Ireland announced its plans to expand its diplomatic presence around the globe, that initiative created strategic opportunities for Ireland, as well as its partners. This year marked the return of Ireland's diplomatic presence in Tehran, a recognition of not only the importance of Iran to Irish relations, but a reflection upon the diplomatic skills of the Iranian ambassador and embassy staff in Dublin, who worked tirelessly with extraordinary diligence to resolve numerous delicate issues, all to bring the plan to fruition. For his outstanding contributions in the field of bilateral relations, which made it possible for Ireland and the Islamic Republic of Iran to build a stronger relationship, one essential to world peace and the advancement of both nations, tonight we honour His Excellency, Dr. Masood Islami.
Mr. Ambassador, on behalf of Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, we present you with the Diplomatic Service Medal with Honours for your work in bilateral relations. I congratulate you.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to accept this award.
The honor is ours, Excellency.
Thank you so much. The credit, of course, goes to all who have helped us in the Iranian and Irish foreign services, and I'm very proud to accept this award. Thank you.
And we're very pleased to give it to you. It's very well earned.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Excellency.
Thank you. Also my colleague, cousin, who has been very supportive of this activities that we have had. Also the people in the background, not only in the foreign services but also in the cultural institutions like Golestan Palace in Iran and Chester Beatty in Ireland, and many others who have contributed to the strengthening of the bilateral relations, all deserve to be shared with this award and honor.
It's very noble of you, Your Excellency. On behalf of Diplomacy in Ireland, I want to congratulate you and the Islamic Republic of Iran for your excellent work in bilateral relations, and it's something we hope will only continue to improve. Thank you, Excellency.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I also should express my thanks to Diplomacy in Ireland and the European Diplomat Committee, and for your personal support and encouragement that it has been always available, creating opportunities for the promotion of the bilateral relations.
Nothing's more important than diplomacy and friendships, and it's something I think we both agree on, where we can celebrate things we should. Thank you, Excellency.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
While sad circumstances loom too often on the world stage, our next honoree has distinguished herself for helping to bring peace, prosperity and hope to her country, the region and the world. Her Excellency, Mrs. Patricia Cortez Ortiz, showed deft skills in establishing Colombia's first resident embassy in Ireland just before the pandemic arose. During that time, she has not only distinguished herself in her relations with her peers and the Irish government, but continues to be an unceasing actor and advocate for peace, justice and reconciliation in her native Colombia, throughout South America and universally. Ambassador Cortez Ortiz's leadership in these core areas of diplomacy have earned her a place as an honoree conferred with the Diplomatic Service Medal with honours in this year's awards.
Madam Ambassador, on behalf of Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, I present you with the Diplomatic Service Medal with honours for your work in peace, justice and reconciliation, in which you and Colombia have certainly been leaders. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Dear friends, my name is Patricia Cortez Ortiz. It is a pleasure to join this ceremony as the first resident Colombian ambassador in Ireland. It is with a great satisfaction and honor that I accept the Diplomatic Service Medal in the field of peace, justice and reconciliation today. Thank you to those accompanying us in the live streaming of this awards ceremony, and my special gratitude to Diplomacy in Ireland and the European Diplomat Committee for conferring me this medal. Thank you to the work of Michal. The Colombian Embassy in Ireland opened up three years and a half ago, and one of our priorities has been to convey our efforts, commitment and achievements to the Irish government, civil society, media and other stakeholders on the implementation of the 2016 peace agreement with FARC under the policy of President of Colombia, Iván Duque, Peace with Legality. We have also engaged in conversation about our journey on peace implementation, the efforts, and of course, on the challenges ahead. This award is a result of this collective effort of the Embassy with the support of the Colombian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and also the support of the Presidential Counselor for Stabilization and Consolidation for Peace in Colombia to communicate this commitment to the commitment of the Colombian government, to the parties, to our society, the support and the efforts on the long-lasting peace. A special thanks to my team in the Embassy of Colombia here in Ireland for their valuable support in this work. 24th of November marked the 5th anniversary of the signing of the peace agreement in Colombia. In coordination with the UN mission and the institutions implementing the agreement, the Colombian government organized a series of events with the participation of the victims, transitional justice, the civil society, and representatives from the international community to mark this day. During the November events in Colombia, there was a clear recognition of the impressive progress of implementing the peace agreement and the commitment of the Colombian government under the current policy of peace with legality. Among others, EU Special Envoy for Peace Process in Colombia, Eamon Gilmore, and the UN Secretary General visited the country by invitation of our government. The Colombian Embassy in Ireland highly values the Irish support to the implementation of this agreement, the constructive approach, and the sharing lessons of its own journey on peace implementation. And of course, the contribution of an Irishman and former Taoiseach, Eamon Gilmore. I would like to leave you with an inspiring message from the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres during this last visit and during these events. It says, Colombia is today a symbol of peace around the world, and that even in these trying times, my country's commitment sends a clear message of it's time to invest in peace. Go Rav Mahat, and muchísimas gracias.
We have all witnessed the troubling and dangerous trend towards the resurgence of authoritarian regimes. As a result, thousands of people found themselves political prisoners, held for exercising the basic right of free speech we too often take for granted. Detained and often tortured, if not killed, for civil society engagement and for exercising their democracy. His Excellency, Mr. Marius Gudinas, Ambassador of Lithuania to Ireland, and his government have been unwavering advocates for the release of political prisoners in Belarus and the promotion of liberty, democracy, and human rights as a fundamental part of a rules-based world order. Tonight, we honour Ambassador Gudinas and all Lithuanians for their courageous advocacy on behalf of political prisoners in Belarus and throughout the world.
Excellency, on behalf of Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, we present you with the Diplomatic Service Medal with honors. We thank you for your work on behalf of political prisoners and for your diplomacy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michal. Actually, I really appreciate receiving this award. It's really a big honor and a big privilege. Well, my country counts the history of more than 1,000 years. And in those 1,000 years, we've been a large country. We've been the largest country in Europe. But we also were twice out of the map. And the last time it happened was in the last century, when two most cruel dictators of the last century, Stalin and Hitler, divided Europe among themselves. And then for 50 years, people really suffered a lot in Lithuania. So 30 years ago, with the help of many people around the globe, we managed to regain our independence. And this is why I believe we understand those people who are still suffering, dictatorships, autocracies. And this is why I believe my country extends their hand to those people whenever we can. So I really accepting this medal. I accept it not for my own deeds, but actually for the deeds and for the work that my governments are doing and my people of Lithuania are doing. Thank you so much.
Excellency, we thank you for your work and certainly for that of Lithuania, the Lithuanian people, and your leadership. It's very much appreciated. Freedom and democracy is all of our future. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Although acknowledged by the United Nations as the State of Palestine, Palestinians continue to struggle to enjoy the benefits of freedom other states take for granted. Her Excellency Dr. Jalan Abd al-Majid has been a tireless advocate for the Palestinian people, travelling Ireland widely to engage with the Irish people and engaging in diplomatic efforts in the corridors of power to advocate for the Palestinian people. Tonight, Ambassador Abdelmajid is being conferred with the Diplomatic Service Medal with honours for her advocacy for the human rights and dignity of the Palestinian people.
Hello guests and fellow speakers. It is with immense pleasure that I can present this award to Her Excellency Ambassador Jilan Wahba Abdelmajid. Having a Palestinian ambassador in Ireland is key for our recognition of Palestine as an independent and sovereign state. Jilan, through her fantastic efforts, has strengthened the relationship between Ireland and Palestine and uses her platform to counteract the misinformation and misconceptions around our country and people by unfriendly nations. Ambassador Wahba Abdelmajid, you are a credit to our country. We have been honored to host you in our cafe. You are welcome anytime. Our door is always open to you to help strengthen our cause and show the hospitality, kindness, and innovation our people have. We are sorry we couldn't be here today to present this in person. Thank you very much for your incredible endeavors and congratulations for this much-deserved award.
This is for your promotion of human rights and dignity of the Palestinian people and for people everywhere. Your Excellency, please accept the Diplomatic Service Medal with honors for your work and the promotion of human dignity in the Palestinian people.
Thank you. Thank you again, Mihal. Thank you, Oksana, and thank you for the rest of Diplomacy Ireland team. I'm honored, I'm privileged today to receive this award, to receive this recognition. Promoting human rights for my people here in Ireland is the first and part of my mission here in Ireland. This will give me a great push and intensify my effort to continue unveil the human rights violation against our people in Palestine, in Ireland, and all over the world. I'm really honored today to receive this award, and it's the first, actually, the first award that I receive as an ambassador, and this is the first post for me here in Ireland. I'm really privileged. I'm honored. Thank you very much. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Authenticity of beliefs in the values of the Kingdom of Belgium and the European Union have seen our next honoree committed to seeing them extended to every person, everywhere. We are joined by the chairman of Dublin Pride, Jed Dowling, to confer the Sir Roger Casement Award upon Ambassador de Bao for his leadership, courage, and unswerving commitment to fundamental human rights.
My name is Jed Dowling, my pronouns are he and him, and I'm the CEO of Dublin LGBTQ Pride. We're delighted to be able to sponsor the inaugural Roger Casement Award for promotion of LGBTQ rights, and very happy to be presenting it to His Excellency Pierre-Emmanuel de Brauw, and indeed the whole Belgian Embassy and the Kingdom of Belgium, who have been great supporters of Pride and Dublin Pride.
My name is Carol de Volle. I am a diplomat at the Belgian Embassy in Ireland. I am so grateful to be able to be here today in name of our former ambassador, Mr. de Brauw, who is being honored here today, as well as on behalf of our current ambassador, Mrs. Van Vlierbergen, and the entire embassy team. What makes this recognition all the more special is the fact that the topics of inclusion, of the rights of LGBTQI persons, and the fight against discrimination lie so close to our hearts in Belgium and in Ireland alike. We are all aware of the fact that, despite the great strides that have been made with regards to the inclusion of LGBTQI persons, those belonging to these communities still face exclusion, discrimination, and even violence all over the world. We believe that actions like the participation of Diplomats for Equality in Dublin Pride, small as they might seem, remain vital to provide visibility to this topic. Together with all other Belgian embassies, the Belgian government, as well as our EU and other allies when it comes to LGBTQI rights, we will keep pushing until inclusion and equality have been achieved and no one is left behind. On behalf of Ambassador De Bouw, I would like to thank the Diplomacy in Ireland Award Committee for recognizing the contributions of Ambassador De Bouw and the embassy team with regards to the Sir Roger Casement Award and the Diplomatic Service Medal with Honors for his work in promoting European values of inclusion, especially among the LGBTQI community.
Hello everyone, my name is Pierre-Emmanuel De Bouw. I was Ambassador of Belgium to Ireland from 2017 until last summer. I'm very honored to be the recipient of the Sir Roger Casement Award and of the Diplomatic Service Medal with Honors in recognition of the Belgian Embassy's work in promoting inclusion, especially among the LGBT+ community. I'd like to dedicate this award to my wonderful colleagues at the Embassy of Belgium in Dublin, and to all those in the Dublin-based diplomatic community in Ireland who are working hard with civil society and institutions to promote human rights, social justice, and inclusion. As an embassy, we are very proud to be strong supporters of Dublin Pride.
Thank you, Ambassador De Bouw. And would you like to specify a little bit about what this award means to you personally, as well as to the embassy team?
Well, it means a lot to me, really, because I've always been committed to human rights and especially to the rights of the LGBT+ community in my private life and in my different postings abroad. It means a lot to the embassy because it is a recognition of how important our core values are in our foreign policy. Human rights, rule of law, multilateralism are at the very heart of Belgium's foreign policy. And what we do in Ireland with Dublin Pride, we do all over the world, basically, in our diplomatic network. And we are strong advocates for equality and diversity in international organizations. So this is a wonderful recognition for this work. I'd like to take the opportunity to congratulate all those who are honored today together with us, and to sincerely thank Diplomacy in Ireland and the European Diplomat for organizing this. Thank you very much.
The world watched as another decade of disasters and human tragedy unfolded due to climate change. Tonight, it is our privilege to recognise the contributions of Ms. Ursula von der Leyen for her promotion of the European Green Deal and her advocacy for the future of habitable planet for us to bequeath the future of humanity. President von der Leyen could not join us tonight, but she has sent a personal note expressing her happiness in being recognised by Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, for her work in promoting the European Green Deal. And now, a word from the 2021 Diplomacy Awards sponsor, DS Automobiles. Once described as the most difficult diplomatic posting in Europe, The role of the Ambassador of Israel to Ireland is a challenge, even on the best of days. Still, His Excellency Mr. Ophir Kariv demonstrated exceptional attributes both personally and as a diplomat in helping the Irish and Israeli people and their respective governments better understand each other. Because of His Excellency's work, both nations have learned to better celebrate their commonalities and appreciate their differences, each committed to building upon the relationship. We are pleased to present Ambassador Kariv with the Editor's Award for his use of exemplary diplomatic skills in the fields of bilateral and multilateral relations.
I feel very fortunate to have the President of the Jewish Representative Council of Ireland here to receive the Diplomatic Service Medal with honors that we present to the former Israeli Ambassador to Ireland, Ophir Kariv, who is an extraordinary diplomat who discharged his duties well. Thank you for accepting on his behalf.
Thank you. My name is Leonard Abrahamson, and I am delighted to accept this honor on behalf of Ambassador Kariv, who was unable to attend in person to do so. The Jewish Representative Council of Ireland, of which I am President, mainly deals with the religious rights and practices of the Irish Jewish community, as well as acting as the representative body of the community, both among our own members and externally. In the latter regard, we have cordial relations with the Irish President, the Irish Government, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and senior figures in all major religious denominations in Ireland. In addition, we are affiliated with both the European Jewish Congress and the World Jewish Congress, and have close relations with these organizations at a high level. As well as working closely with Ambassador Kariv during his tenure in Ireland, we have urged the relevant authorities here to ensure that hate crimes, including anti-Semitism, are legislated against. In addition, we continue to encourage the Irish Government and An Garda Síochána, amongst others, to fully adopt the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. On behalf of Ambassador Kariv, I would like to thank the Diplomacy in Ireland Awards team for recognising His Excellency's contribution to building greater understanding and cultural ties between Ireland and Israel.
Good evening and shalom, ladies and gentlemen. It is a real pleasure to be joining you for this ceremony from Jerusalem. I am truly honored to receive this Diplomatic Service Medal, and I would like to sincerely thank Miol O'Halley and the Diplomacy in Ireland for finding me a deserving person for getting this award. It was a great honor for me to serve as Israel's ambassador to Ireland from 2018 until the summer of 2021. And I look back on my time in Ireland with great fondness and satisfaction. There's no doubt that it was a challenging role, and certainly during my mission I frequently had to stand for my country's interest and good name and fend off attacks by some political and media figures. Nonetheless, my time in Ireland has reaffirmed my belief that there is far more that unites us than divides us, and I made it a priority to forge relations with a wide range of contacts, despite some political differences. Although I expected to face challenges in Ireland, I did not expect in my wildest dreams that I would experience a global pandemic while resident in Dublin. However, this pandemic also created an opportunity for cooperation between Israel and Ireland, as the two countries sought to exchange information and best practices, in particular in the context of our successful vaccination program. This was further proof that our two small advanced economies and democracies have much in common and that we can learn from each other to the benefit of all. Following the signing of the historic Abraham Accords between Israel and the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and Morocco, I was delighted to have the opportunity to develop relations with my esteemed colleagues from these countries over the past year. One of my most vivid memories is standing with my dear colleague, Ambassador Sultan El Ali of the United Arab Emirates, in the synagogue in Tel Neur last December to light the Hanukkah candles. Also, the warmth of relations and depth of conversations with my friend, Ambassador Lahsan Marawi of Morocco, will always dwell in my heart. Such encounters would have been unthinkable even a year prior to that, and were clear proof of the opportunities available when neighbors make peace. I was privileged to serve with a very special group of people in the diplomatic corps resident in Ireland, some of them my dear friends. We all had to confront the trauma of the pandemic and isolation from our home countries. As diplomats, most of our work is conducted in face-to-face meetings, at receptions and official events where we can have the opportunity to network. Suddenly, overnight, all of that stopped, and we were all forced, in a way, to relearn our jobs. I'm so glad that I was able to experience a few weeks of normality in the summer when the public health restrictions eased just before returning to Israel. There was such a sense of joy when we were able to meet again as colleagues and friends and celebrate national days and other important occasions. I also very much appreciated the excellent relation with my colleagues from the Department of Foreign Affairs, and of course with Minister Kovny. Although we may have had political differences, I always appreciated our open and frank conversations, which were conducted in a good and professional atmosphere. In my work, I was always supported by a great team in the embassy, both Irish and Israelis, including my deputy head of mission, Orly Weizmann. Although their work is largely unseen, their contribution to my mission was indispensable. I would also like to pay tribute to my successor, Ambassador Liron Bar-Sadeh, who is a highly experienced diplomat and who I know will do her utmost to bring Israel and Ireland closer. With all of my dear colleagues, Irish and Israeli friends in mind, I would therefore like to conclude with the words of the great Irish poet W.B. Yeats. Think where men's glory most begins and ends, and say my glory was I had such friends. Thank you for your friendship and your cooperation.
As a child awakened in the middle of the night by the KGB in 1944, our next honoree was expelled from his native Crimea, where his people have lived as the indigenous inhabitants for over a millennia. Subjected to Stalin's persecution, torture, and genocide, our next honoree grew not to hate, but learned the value of love, loyalty, cooperation, peace, family, and community. An international icon for freedom, whom Yuri Andropov once called the most dangerous man in the Soviet Union, he has been a leader of his people, affectionately earning the name Son of Crimea. In 1991, when Ukraine regained their independence, he and his people were able to return to Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula and thrive. That came to an end in 2014 when the Russian Federation seized Crimea by the illegal use of force and once again subjected the Crimean Tatars to unspeakable cruelty, persecution, wrongful detention, torture, and even summary execution. Tonight, Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, is honoured to confer upon Mustafa Jamilev the Diplomatic Service Medal with honours for his work on behalf of Indigenous people, the promotion of human rights, and his struggle for the freedom of his occupied autonomous Republic of Crimea in Ukraine.
Saygılı beyler ve hanımefendiler, ilk önce bana ve Amerika diasporamızın temsilcisi Ayla Bakallı'ya bu senenin mükemmel diplomatik hizmetleri için madalyasını layık görken İrlanda Diplomasi Avrupa Diplomatı yayın kuruluşuna derin ve samimi teşekkürlerimi bildirmek isteyim. Muhtemelen bildiğiniz gibi 1944 yılında öz topraklarından sürgün edilirken ve soykırıma uğratılan Kırım Tatar halkı Yaklaşık yarım yüzyıl devamında öz ana vatanlarına kayıtıp gelmek için ve temel insan hakları için silahsız savaştılar. Ve sonki 8 yıl içerisinde ise yani Rus askerleri toprağımıza girdikten sonra bu halkın temsilcileri işgalcilere karşı hareketlerin birinci sıralarındadır. Bu sebepten Rus işgalcilerin esas darbeleri şu milletin temsilcilerine düşmektedir. İnsanları gizlice hırsızlamak ve onları öldürmek, uydurma suçlamalarıyla yüzlerce insanların evlerini aramak ve tutuklamak, işgalcilerin de gerekli kanıtlar, ifadeler almak için FSB zindanlarında acımasız işkenceler, Rusya Federasyonu'na getirip yüz binlerce Kırım'da insanları yerleştirilmesi ve aynı zaman onların hoşlarına gitmeyen insanların birinci sırada Rus pasaportlarını almayı istemeyen insanları Kırım'dan sürgün edilmesi, yerli halkın kültürel medeni miraslarını ve onların marif sistemlerinin yok edilmesi, Kırım'da yaşayan tüm insanların davranış ve düşüncelerin kontrol altına alınması, tüm demokratik özgürlükleri, haklarının ortadan kaldırılması, dehşetli askerleşme ve bu sırada aynı zaman Kırım Yarımadası'nın çevresini, ekolojisini ve peyzajını düzeltmeye imkan olmayacak seviyeye getirilmesi, işte bu işgalcilerin 8 yıl içerisinde yaptıkları ve bizim soydaşlarımızın karşıya gördükleri şeyler. Onun için böyle durumda elbette diğer devletlerinin nasıl bir dikkat vermeleri, bu hareketlerde, direniş hareketlerinde iştirak eden insanlara destek vermeleri çok önemlidir. Bu vesileyle ben ayrıca yakın zamanlarda Ağustos ayındaki yılda geçirdiğimiz Kırım işgalden kurtarmak için geçirdiğimiz Kırım platformunda aktif iştirak eden İrlanda Dışişleri Bakanı Simon Kekoven'e teşekkürlerimi bildirmek isterim. Ayrıca 2017 senesi Dublin'de bizim cesur hukukçumuz Emil Kubedin'e tehlike altında hareket eden Frontline Defenders ödülü verilmesine de ayrıca teşekkürlerimi bildirmek isterim. Böyle davranışlar elbette bizim halkımıza, bizim insanlarımıza manevi destek verir ve işgalcilere yeni bir tokattır. Hep yaptığımız davranışlar, hareketler için sizden Allah razı olsun. Gelecek 2022 yıl İrlanda halkına ve hepimize hayırlı, mutlu ve başarılı olsun.
We also announced the conferral of the Diplomatic Service Medal to Miss Ayla Bakali, the Crimean Tatar representative to the United Nations, who accepts the award on behalf of the Crimean Tatar community enduring the cruel occupation of their homeland by the Russian Federation and members of the Crimean Tatar diaspora everywhere. Ireland has enjoyed the benefits of our relationship with India for many years, be it trade or bilateral relations, or the many members of the Indian diaspora who have made their homes in Ireland. We have even embraced a first-generation Irish-Indian Taoiseach. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit Ireland, His Excellency Mr. Sandeep Kumar leapt into action, helping coordinate support cells across the nation in communities large and small in order to help the Indian diaspora in Ireland. Throughout the pandemic, the Indian Embassy in Dublin did not close a single day, helping Irish obtain visas, coordinating bilateral donations of aid, assisting in the clearance of humanitarian aid and vaccines through customs, and organising repatriation flights when necessary. For all of his efforts in the support of the Indian diaspora community in Ireland, we confer upon Ambassador Kumar the Diplomatic Service Medal with honours.
Thank you, Michal, and thank you to Diplomacy Ireland for all of your great work. I'm absolutely honoured to accept this award on behalf of Ambassador Kumar. He did some superb work when he was in Ireland, building on the Ireland-India relations, and I'm really honoured that he has received this award, and I'm really honoured to accept it on his behalf. Thank you.
We're thrilled to have you, and I spoke to him at the weekend, and he's still traveling on business and getting settled back in India after retirement. But he does send his best wishes to you and to Ireland. He had quite a good time here. Thank you, Liam.
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Liam Lynch, and I'm the current chair of the Ireland-India Business Association. We're an organisation that provides a focal point for connectivity and communication between people who are operating in the Ireland-India business space. Our purpose is to encourage people to talk, and from talk comes trust, and from trust trade, and then we get back to the beginning again in a virtuous circle that leads to increased business relationships and increased business between our two countries. We're the people who are there to provide the connectivity and the networking, where people can come along to us and they can find out the person who's done that and knows how to do that thing in person. And it's as simple as that. And then building the broader understanding between our two countries, between the cultural and the business and cultural approaches of our two countries. And I am delighted to be here this evening to accept this award from Diplomacy Ireland to former Ambassador Sandeep Kumar, who during his time as Ambassador to Ireland was truly an ambassador from India to all of Ireland. I'd particularly like to draw attention to the great work that he did in bringing his mission out to the regions, including all of the various towns and counties in Ireland, and going down and meeting both Indians and Irish people operating in the Ireland-India space, and doing that all over the entire country. And his love for the country from the very beginning was very clear. I think it came from his time spent in Ireland when he was a student hitchhiking around the country, and he never lost that love for the country and for the whole country. And I'd like to thank Ambassador Kumar on behalf of all of us here in Ireland for all that he did over his time in Ireland for Ireland-India relations. Thank you.
Earlier this year, our Editor-in-Chief, Michal O'Hurley, had the privilege of interviewing the democratically elected President of Belarus, Mrs. Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya, who replaced her husband in the election after her husband was detained as a political prisoner for exercising his democratic and human rights of free speech. The European Union and the world rejects Lukashenko's claim he won the election and recognises Mrs. Tsikhanouskaya as the duly elected President of Belarus. Fleeing in exile to Lithuania, where she continues to fight for the release of all political prisoners in Belarus, including her husband, whose sentence was extended when new sanctions were imposed on Lukashenko's regime, the spirit of freedom, human rights and democracy burn bright in her eyes, in her heart, and in all that she does. For her tireless work on behalf of the people of Belarus, and for the inspirational demonstration of remarkable personal courage, Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, confers upon Mrs. Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya the Eleanor Roosevelt For Freedoms Award and the Diplomatic Service Medal with Valour. And for the work of the Coordination Council for the Transfer of Power, we recognise your collective efforts with the presentation of the Diplomatic Service Medal with honours.
I would like to sincerely thank you for the Diplomatic Service Medal. I am honored to receive it on behalf of Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya. Unfortunately, she is not able to be with us today because of a difficult travel schedule, but she is very thankful for their word. As she always says, their word is not for her, but for all the Belarusian people. for their courage and strength in fighting for democracy and freedom. This award is for every one of the 9 million Belarusians who are right now being repressed by the regime. Their voices have been stolen, but their word shows that they are not forgotten. Neither are the almost 1,000 political prisoners. We appreciate your efforts in keeping Belarus high on the Irish and international agenda. As you know, Ireland has a special place in Svetlana Tikhanovskaya's heart, as she spent summers there as a teenager on a program supporting Belarusian kids who suffered from the consequences of the Chernobyl disaster. That program is just another example of how Ireland is a true friend of Belarus. The work of Ireland to keep Belarus on the agenda and support political prisoners is crucial in strengthening the bond between our nations. Please rest assured, it doesn't go unappreciated. We will not forget the efforts that you have made to support our cause and the many letters that you have collected to political prisoners. Thank you once again for the prize and your support for the people of Belarus.
Almost 1 year ago, the democratically elected government of Myanmar was deposed by a military junta who reasserted their control over the Burmese people, ending their nascent experience with democracy. Since then, more than 10,000 Burmese people have been detained as political prisoners, more than 1,300 killed by the government, and the arrest of journalists and members of the media, aid workers and common people have become commonplace. Political imprisonment, disappearances, detention and murder have become the hallmark of Myanmar's military junta. Tonight, we are honoured to recognise the spokesperson of the National Unity Government, which opposes the military regime, the Burmese people's special envoy to the United Nations, Dr. Sasa, who is being honoured for his humanitarian work, defence of human rights and the promotion of democracy.
On behalf of Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, we present and confer upon Dr. Sasa the Diplomatic Service Medal with honor for all that he has done for the people of Myanmar, Burma, and the world in standing up for human rights, promoting human dignity, and for the restoration of the democracy and justice, and for his advocacy for all those who suffer in prison. We thank Dr. Sasa, and we congratulate you, and thank you for accepting on his behalf.
Hello, I'm Tenzar. We are here today on behalf of His Excellency Dr. Sasa, who is unable to attend in person to accept these honors. We, the Myanmar people in Ireland, are very honored to take this award, Diplomatic Service Medals with Honors, on behalf of Dr. Sasa. We are very grateful to Diplomacy in Ireland for the award for recognition of Dr. Sasa's relentless diplomatic efforts. Dr. Sasa is the Union Minister of the Ministry of International Cooperation, the spokesperson for the National Unity Government of Myanmar, and also the Myanmar Special Envoy to the United Nations. Dr. Sasa is a human rights activist and a humanitarian worker all his life. With his astounding courage, dedication, commitment, and a relentless diplomatic efforts with bilateral and multilateral relations, Dr. Sasa has worked tirelessly since the military coup in February of this year to bring unity, justice, and federal democracy for Myanmar. Dr. Sasa inspires all of us to do better for peace, democracy, and a promotion of human rights for our home country, Myanmar, and around the world. Thank you very much.
Alo Minglaba. Thank you so much indeed to diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomats, for this diplomatic service rendered with honor. I am very humble to have been selected to receive this honor. I cannot accept this honor by my own merits, but on behalf of the countless people who have collaborated and with whom I have the privilege and honor to work over many years, especially those I have worked with over the last year during the darkest hour Myanmar has ever faced. I look back, Health and Hope program I established were it not for the generous donations from people and governments, we would not have been able to serve more than 100,000 villages with emergency food aid and medical care. Hundreds of passionate and dedicated locals took it upon themselves and take our training courses and become community health workers and traditional birth attendants. Thanks to them, countless villagers in Chin and Rakhine could receive medical care which they were so long denied. Because of their efforts, Health and Hope grew and prospered, earning the trust and respect of the local community, which ultimately allow us to branch out into education, community development, and food security. I can proudly say that we have made far more greater than I could ever have hoped. Since the military stole the light of our beautiful country in February, I'm very proud to say that I have given my all to expel the military junta and their reign of terror, returned freedom and democracy to my homeland. I will not be here today. I would not have had the opportunity to make meaningful progress on the road to victory were it not for the support and perseverance of the brave Myanmar people. It's they who empower me to speak on their behalf, to tell the story to the world, to implore the world intent to take actions to end the atrocities and violations our people suffer every day. They are the true defender of democracy. It is they, not I, who are the heroes of this story. It is to them all I dedicate this award, and so it is more apt that it is the Myanmar people in diaspora who are accepting this award. It is to them all, the community, the people in Myanmar, the diaspora, and to those many allies over the world, I say thank you. Together we will win. We must win. Ejedopo Aoyami. Ejedopo Aonebi. Jesuba, thank you.
Be it peace through security or humanitarian assistance, military officers who serve in embassies are invaluable contributors to world peace. We are honoured to recognise one such officer, a Canadian, Colonel Andrew Lucier, who served as the military attaché to the Embassy of Canada in Ireland before returning home for further duties on behalf of his nation. Accepting on his behalf tonight is Her Excellency, Mrs. Nancy Smith, Ambassador of Canada to Ireland.
Hello, my name is Nancy Smythe. I'm the Head of Mission at the Canadian Embassy. Thank you for inviting me to accept this honour on behalf of Colonel Andrew Lucier, who ended his assignment as Defence Attaché for the UK and Ireland and is now back at headquarters in Ottawa. Canada and Ireland enjoy a deep and historic partnership and friendship. Our people-to-people ties are such that 14% of all Canadians claim Irish heritage, and our political and economic relationship continues to grow year over year. Canada and Ireland share common values, and we work together closely, bilaterally, and also multilaterally in international organizations. We're working together on some of the biggest challenges the global community faces, such as climate change, combating COVID-19, and advancing human rights and the rule of law. Canada and Ireland also take on important roles to support peace and security operations in the field and the provision of humanitarian assistance. During Colonel Lucier's recent tenure as Canada's Defence Attaché, accredited to Ireland, he continued the strong tradition of military diplomacy, working closely with the Irish Defence Forces to advance these shared values and interests together and to exchange good practices and to learn from one another. So on behalf of Colonel Lucier, I'd like to thank Diplomacy in Ireland Awards Committee for bestowing this honour on him. While the award relates to the period he was accredited to Ireland, his biography is an impressive testimony to his service in the field, including 2 tours in Afghanistan, Kosovo, and in Latvia. Colonel Lucier has asked me to thank the award committee, the international military communities, and the Irish Defence Forces for their support and for their cooperation. Thank you. Merci.
It gives us great privilege to present the next honor to Ohan Yurganharsyan, who is the Honorary Consul of Armenia to Ireland. He's given us more than a decade of service as a diplomat and certainly more to his community.
Good afternoon. My name is Harut Shahamian. I'm a member of Armenian community in Ireland, and I have a privilege of being the principal of Armenian Sunday School in Dublin. The Armenian community in Ireland is proud to support the Diplomacy Ireland 2021 awards, and it's my pleasure to present to you Honorary Consul of Armenia in Ireland, Mr. Ohan Yurganharsyan. Mr. Ohan Yurganharsyan is a descendant of 2 orphan survivors of Armenian genocide. He was born in Jerusalem and grown up in Armenian Quarter, where he attended Armenian school and churches. When he moved to Lebanon, he continued his education in Armenian high school. And not surprisingly, Ohan considered himself first and foremost an Armenian. He always believed that building schools, churches, and organizing community events is the best way to keep community together in diaspora. In 2009, Ohan has established Armenian Sunday School in Dublin. His goal was to give a chance to Armenian kids in Ireland to learn Armenian language, history, and get to interact with each other. The school led up of setting up Mission Parish of Armenian Apostolic Church later. Over the past 12 years, Armenian community held a lot of community events and celebrations in the school. The school became the focus of Armenian community in Ireland. Ohan also supported the establishment of Armenian Chess Club, which soon became not popular only for Armenian kids, but also kids from different other communities. As an honorary consul, Ohan put a lot of efforts to establish Armenian-Irish relationship and increase the awareness among Irish population about Armenia. He has developed regular contacts between Armenian and Irish in diplomacy and tourism and sport. Continuous contribution to the Armenian community and the development of the Irish-Armenian relationship in addition to a lot of charity initiatives Ohan was involved in, make a strong case for nomination of the Diplomatic Service Medal. And it's my honor to congratulate Ohan for this. Congratulations, Ohan.
As I embark on my 14th year of duties as the first honorary consul of Armenia in Ireland, I am delighted and honored to be the recipient of the Diplomatic Service Medal of 2021. While Armenia is a very ancient country with over 3,000 years of recorded history, modern independent Armenia is only a 30-year-old democratic republic which embarked on building independent bridges with the rest of the world only during the past 3 decades. Diplomacy is the art and science of strengthening the state and establishing and developing and maintaining peaceful relationships with others. Irish-Armenian diplomatic relations were established in 1996, and since 2008 it has been my duty and privilege, with the support of our embassy resident in London, to contribute to the enhancement of diplomatic, economic and cultural relations between my homeland Armenia and Ireland. To paraphrase a political slogan, much done, more to do, is an appropriate description of the progress made so far. As for the Armenian community in Ireland, we number about 600 individuals, and yet we have coalesced into a very active community. Some members of the community are here with us today, and I want to thank them for their support over the years. But primarily, I want to thank the editorial board of the Diplomat in the person of Mr. O'Hurley, and the awards committee in the person of the chair, Ms. Shabrina, wishing them and everybody here a very happy Christmas and a COVID-free New Year. Thank you.
We would love to give this beautiful flower to this beautiful lady, Yvonne. We always say, behind every successful man, there is a powerful woman, beautiful woman as you, Yvonne. Thank you very much for all the support all these years behind Ohan for the Armenian community here in Ireland. Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless.
I want to offer my sincerest thanks to Diplomacy in Ireland and the European Diplomat for the recognition that they've given the work that we do in the mission of the State of Palestine today. Ireland and Palestine have strong ties of solidarity between them, and the work that we do promotes the issues facing the Palestinian people. It's our job to make sure that our communications reach their target audiences, and as a team we succeed in doing that. This recognition today means a lot to us as a professional team of people. It's more an honour to have Sean of a new or a million my hug.
Mehmet, I want to thank the Ambassador and the Embassy of Turkey for you coming today to accept this, the Diplomatic Service Medal, which Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, presents to the former First Counselor here in Ireland, Balcha, who did phenomenal service, was a great peer in the diplomatic corps, and was of no small service to this publication. We thank you and we celebrate Turkey's great work and extend to her our congratulations.
Thank you, Paul. It's my pleasure to accept the Diplomatic Service Medal on behalf of Mrs. Balca Kurhan Elayati, who served at the Turkish Embassy for over 4 years and certainly made an important contribution to relations between Turkey and Ireland. I talked to Mrs. Balca Kurhan Elayati earlier, and she wanted me to thank all of you for this award, and in particular to Mikhail for his friendship and cooperation with the embassy. I arrived in Ireland just 1 week ago, following a two-year assignment in Iraq, and I'm delighted to be here. As you know, Turkey enjoys good relations with Ireland that were built upon the foundations of a friendship established during the Great Famine, when the Ottoman Sultan sent aid to Ireland in 1847. Today, we have no outstanding political issues. Ireland expresses support for Turkey's accession to the EU. We do believe there is room for improvement, especially in commerce, trade, culture, and education. We are aiming to double the trade volume between our countries, which at the moment stands at around 1.5 billion euros. We also want to increase bilateral investments. There are roughly 5,000 Turkish citizens living in Ireland, contributing every day to social and economic life here. Many of them work for international corporations and some are students. We also believe that there is a need to increase interaction between our educational institutions in order to build and develop relations in that area. So once again, I would like to thank you all on behalf of Mrs. Balci Kurhan-Elayoti, and thank you for inviting me here today.
Lena, you have been terribly supportive of all of our efforts at Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, and I've heard nothing but the highest praise from your ambassador. I know that Lithuania must be pleased to have you, and we are pleased to present you with the Diplomatic Service Award for all that you have done. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm very delighted, and it's a big honor to receive this award. I'm very happy.
Nadia, on behalf of Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, the Awards Committee has conferred you with the Diplomatic Service Award for your service to the mission of Georgia and its ambassador, and to the Diplomatic Corps as a whole. Thank you very much for your service here in Ireland.
Thank you so much, Mihal. I really much appreciate it. That's great. Thank you.
Now it is time for us to recognise other diplomats, NGOs, journalists and corporate leaders that support the work of the Diplomatic Corps and have made significant contributions worthy of recognition in this year's awards.
Good afternoon. My name is Kate Fearon. I'm honoured to be a recipient of one of this year's Diplomacy in Ireland Diplomatic Service Medals. I wish to sincerely thank the Awards Committee for recognising my work amongst the work of so many worthy people on the planet. Many people are working hard to resolve conflict, working hard to build confidence or mediate between parties approaching peace, working hard to promote human rights or working hard to advocate for the political participation of women and girls by trying to translate the European Union and the United Nations Women, Peace and Security agenda into practical change on the ground. People do this in big ways at the geopolitical level within the big multilateral institutions and in small ways at grassroots levels through NGOs on the ground. I have learned that conflict resolution needs to take account of both. It is not sustainable unless it is inclusive, particularly of women. In my earlier work in Northern Ireland, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, in Afghanistan, in Sudan, in Kosovo, and now in Georgia as a secondee of the Irish Department of Foreign Affairs, supporting its contribution to the European Union's common security and defence policy, I have strived to adhere to the core values of human-centred and human rights-centred conflict prevention, management and resolution work. I have seen at first hand how important and indeed how powerful multilateral diplomacy can be. I am grateful to have been able to have made a contribution to it. It isn't always easy, but it is always worthwhile. I am pleased that this award recognises that and motivates me further. Thank you again. Goramaygut Arish.
My name is Monique Tungia and I am the founder of the Green Girls Organization. For over 7 years now, we are on a mission to provide access to clean and affordable energy to every woman and girl in an African rural community. Our work has been able to impact 3 African countries since our solutions are replicable and scalable. We've been able to impact in Cameroon, Central African Republic and DRC Congo. We've been able to provide over 3,060 biogas installations that provides clean cooking fuel to these women and girls in African villages. Over 1,000 solar installations that provide them with electricity, basically lighting, and over 48 African rural villages have been impacted. The amazing thing is that solution is replicable and scalable, and we are looking forward with the help of more funding to be able to get into 5 more African countries as from 2022. Which are Niger, Mali, Senegal, the Gambia, and Nigeria. To the entire Diplomacy in Ireland committee, thank you very much for recognizing our work. Work that, though challenging, we are committed to We are committed to pushing forward and advocating to achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Even though I cannot be there in Ireland, I'll be there with you in spirit. We are because we are, and we are able to do our kind of work because of platforms like yourself that recognize us and, you know, help us to be able to keep doing what we're doing. So thank you all very much.
When the Green Girls project goes on tour, it usually gets a lot of attention. Today, the organization is visiting Bafia, a village about 120 kilometers from the capital, Yaoundé. Monique Ntumungia is explaining to the crowd that these solar panels need to be cleaned, and they can also learn how. The young entrepreneur wants to help other women become acquainted with green technology.
A group of Muslim girls approached me telling me that, yes, we had given them books to study at night, but they now have access to electricity. So I realized that we were instead dictating solutions and not providing them the specific solutions. So going ahead to create the Green Girls organization was to put women and girls at the forefront as the solution providers to their problem.
The Green Girls have been touring Cameroon for 3 years now, traveling to places that are off-grid or suffer frequent power outages. Monique Ntumungia says renewable energies can help improve people's lives, doing away with the need to gather and cut firewood. They've clearly ignited a spark of hope. This is really going to help our lives because in terms of money, electricity is a bit expensive in Cameroon. However, thanks to solar energy, which we are not buying, we will not have to pay a fee to light up our homes, to charge our phones, and if possible, to cook. Today, Monique and her team install solar panels in the village. If properly maintained, they can serve a household for up to 25 years. The kits provide enough energy to power at least 3 light bulbs, a radio set, and a mobile phone. For the first time, 37-year-old Ndenge Susan and her 7 kids have their own source of electricity. When night falls and there is power outage, I will switch to solar and make some food in the kitchen with the help of 1 bulb. A snake can enter my house and I will switch on the light so I can kill the snake right away. The Green Girls project also builds biogas plants. A pit has already been dug here where kitchen waste or cow dung can be disposed of. Monique is explaining that biogas is produced under the polytunnel and that families can use to run small gas cookers at home. Funding for the road show comes from international sponsors. The women villagers get the solar kits for free once they have learned how to operate and maintain them. The 27-year-old, who is a lawyer by training, has a vision.
We need women. We need women to sit at the tables of, you know, climate activists, global climate, and tell them that in our community this is what we need.
1 week later, the Green Girls are ready for their next trip. In the settlements around Bafia, they have installed 50 solar units. Now they are off to northern Cameroon to empower more women.
Earlier this year, our Editor-in-Chief, Dr. Micheál O'Hurley, organised a professional development day for the diplomatic corps serving in Ireland. He was joined by fellow journalists, public relations specialists who gave generously of their time, talents, experience and insights to build meaningful professional relationships with the diplomatic corps. It is the privilege of the diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, to confer upon those allied professionals the Diplomatic Service Medal for their contributions to the field of diplomatic practice and arts. Tonight we honour John Williams, Managing Director of RTE News and Current Affairs; Owen Thomas McDermott, CEO of the Communications Clinic; Ken Murray, journalist of Euronews; Dr. Martina Byrne, CEO of the Public Relations Institute of Ireland, Dr. Liam Kennedy of UCD's Clinton Institute, Alireza Haji Hosseini of the CNN Academy, Cormac Burke, editor, Irish Independent, and Catherine Fegan, special contributor, Irish Independent.
Thank you so much. I am very honoured to accept this award on behalf of the Public Relations Institute of Ireland and our members around the country. Not least because we have so much in common, I believe, with the work that you do in the diplomatic corps. After all, one definition I read of diplomacy is that it's the long-established practice of influencing the decisions and behaviours of foreign governments through dialogue and negotiation, by speech or written acts. And that could almost be a definition of public relations, because our work is all about building stronger and better relationships between groups by providing a strong flow of communications and giving people access to the information that they need to make decisions. The members of the Public Relations Institute of Ireland work every day to contribute to the economic, social, cultural, and political life of this island. And I know that that's what you do for your home countries too. In recent decades, the roles and responsibilities of public relations have moved far beyond the traditional idea of sending out press releases. And nowadays, we understand that people have so many different ways of accessing information, from websites, from social media channels. And I would encourage you to embrace all of that diversity of communication and to reach as many of the audiences as you possibly can, and to do so with clarity and care. And so, in concluding, thank you again. As I say, I'm deeply honoured to accept this award on behalf of the entire profession and the members of the Public Relations Institute of Ireland. And may I wish, on their behalf and mine, an Irish wish of good luck. Ganairi on Boherlat. Thank you.
Owen, on behalf of Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, I present you with the Diplomatic Service Medal in gratitude for your contribution to the Diplomatic Corps at a recent event in which your lecture was very well received and appreciated. We thank you and congratulate you.
Thank you very much, Michal.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much to everybody at the European Diplomat and for your generosity. This is a great honour and I'm delighted. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm Owen Tomas McDermott. I'm the Managing Director of the Communications Clinic, and I would like to say first and foremost thank you very much to everybody at the European Diplomat for this honour and this recognition. It's honour more dom on Gradam Shaw Oil Gurmila Machgov Galer. Myself and my colleagues in the Communications Clinic have the opportunity and the privilege of working with individuals and organisations, helping them be the best communicators they can be, no matter what the setting, whether that is in simple one-to-one interactions or more strategically for those organisations. We work with diplomats across the globe, helping them really communicate in an empathetic way to their different stakeholders, understanding them, and no matter what the timing, good or more challenging, being able to empathetically present their point of view. And I look forward to continuing that work. So finally, thanks very much to the European Diplomat again for this wonderful privilege and honour and recognition. Gurmila Mahagwiv Galer, Agus Berbua, Agus Banach.
John, the diplomatic community was a beneficiary of the lecture you gave recently. And although I don't work for the diplomatic community, Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, covers that community exclusively. We've appreciated all that you've done and for the attention RTE has paid to the diplomatic community it's essential to world peace and safety. So please accept our scroll and the Diplomatic Service Medal for the work that you have done on behalf of the Diplomatic Corps. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. For Western diplomacy, 2021 was the best of times and the worst of times. During 15 days in August, 130,000 people were airlifted from Kabul. Under fire and showing great courage, diplomats were key to the biggest international airlift since the Berlin airlift after World War II. 700 journalists, mostly Afghans, were among those evacuated. But that it was necessary should shame us all. Thousands of Afghans are celebrating their first Christmas, including many here in Ireland. They are the lucky ones. Millions more have been left to starve under the Taliban, believing the promise that this time the West would not turn its back on Afghanistan. Before August 15th, the media had been one of the success stories in Afghanistan. During more than a dozen visits over the 20 years since 9/11, I got to know Afghanistan and made many friends there, and saw Afghan journalism grow into something to be proud of. It is the privilege of my life to serve on the board of the Committee to Protect Journalists. As the Taliban marched on Kabul, thousands of Afghan journalists contacted the CPJ. More than 400 were vetted and registered, and my CPJ colleagues supported more than 40 to leave and start new lives elsewhere. Many are here, thanks to the generosity of the Irish Refugee Protection Programme. While others dithered, Ireland acted. On New Year's Eve 1961, Ireland got its own public broadcaster. For 60 years, RTE has reported not just from across Ireland, but around the world. It was one of the founding members of the European Broadcasting Union, and this year, RTE was one of 11 public service broadcasters to begin showcasing each other's content to bring our audiences a European perspective. But we can only operate in faraway places thanks to the support of local journalists. It is they who deliver the soft power of organisations like the BBC, Deutsche Welle, and yes, RTE. But too often this summer, it was they who were abandoned by the EU, the US, and those who claim to be the supporters of democracy. That starts with freedom of expression. That's why, in Afghanistan and in Ireland, journalism matters. The journalists of Afghanistan deserve better, from the US, from the UK, from NATO, and from the EU. They still do.
Ken, on behalf of Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, we present you with the Diplomatic Service Medal for your many years of journalism and your contributions to the Diplomatic Corps, which haven't been insignificant. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Michael. Can I just say that I'm absolutely delighted to be receiving this accolade on behalf of Diplomacy in Ireland. This is a very, well, it's a great honour for me to receive. Sometimes when you do your day job, you don't look at it as something you do to receive awards, but in my role as Ireland reporter covering the island of Ireland, I'd like to think that the role that Euronews plays in not only highlighting what goes on in Ireland, it plays a big role in raising the profile of Ireland and its people. So much so that I'm of the thinking that the more coverage Ireland gets, whether it's in politics, sport, business and the arts, it helps to raise not only the profile of the country but indeed its people, and it helps Ireland's influence around the world. And so much so that I recall recently listening to a podcast on the BBC which said that Ireland is probably the most diplomatic country in terms of influence globally, between our successes in Brussels, our successes at the United Nations, and the very fact that we have a US president who's of Irish extraction. And that means that the Irish voice is held in very high esteem, but that what Irish people have to say is listened to with great seriousness. So I'd like to thank Michael and Oksana and everybody for this award. I'm really delighted to receive it, and I look forward to working with Michael and Oksana in the future. Thank you very much.
Honor, on behalf of Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, and the Diplomatic Corps, which you and Turkish Airlines helped, we present you now with the Diplomatic Service Medal for your work and contributions to the diplomatic community. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much. I would like to say thank you to Diplomacy in Ireland, Michal and the team for giving us this amazing award, and we are very, very happy to support diplomats in Ireland and their family members and the embassy staff. We know that it's very difficult to serve in abroad for their countries. They are far from their families and friends. That's why we have a critical mission in here to bring them to their loved ones in abroad, in their countries. As Turkish Airlines, we are flying to more than 120 countries, so we are believing that as national flag carrier of Turkey, we have a critical mission as Turkey's soft power. So it is very important for us to support all the communities and the diplomats in abroad. And thank you very much.
Go ahead. Sean, Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, would like to thank you and Turkish Airlines for your support of our events and the Diplomatic Corps in Ireland. Here we present you with the Diplomatic Service Medal. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
It's a great honour and a privilege to be here accepting this award. Working with Turkish Airlines for the last 8 years, we have seen many an obstacle, from a recession to volcanoes to terrorist attacks and now a pandemic. But from all of these, Turkish Airlines has come back stronger. And as a part of this, diplomacy is a crucial aspect. With the collapse of the Afghan government, Turkey and Turkish Airlines has been able to help people who have been displaced. We have been able to help multiple families arrive in Ireland in accordance with the Department of Foreign Affairs. And as an airline, we believe it is crucial to think globally and act locally. We are proud to be the airline that flies to more countries than any other airline, with a network of 250 plus destinations, 372 aircraft, and we are also increasing our presence in Ireland with a direct route from Dublin to Antalya as of next year. I would like to thank Diplomacy in Ireland for this award and all my colleagues in Turkish Airlines. I wish you all a happy Christmas and a happy New Year.
Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, is proud to honour the United Nations team Ethiopia. UNHCR works to protect and assist refugees. Everyone has the right to seek asylum and find safe refuge in another state, with the option to eventually return home, integrate or resettle. UNICEF, which works across 190 countries and territories, strives to do whatever it takes to help children survive, thrive and reach their full potential. The World Food Programme, the world's largest humanitarian organisation, works to save lives in emergencies and use food assistance to build a pathway to peace, stability and the effects of climate change. Tonight, we are pleased to honour the UN team Ethiopia for their heroic efforts and join the patron of their award, Ballywire Media CEO Paul Collins, in celebrating their efforts. If we know nothing else of ancient cultures, we know the art they left behind, and so art and cultural artefacts are iconic touchstones of humanity across the globe. Preserving our world's artistic treasures and cultural artefacts, it is an obligation in both morality and law. Given the number of conflicts which have engulfed the world, diplomats and allied professionals have become close collaborators in working to prevent the destruction of cultural artefacts and treasures, as well as working on the recovery of lost, looted and missing art. This year, Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, is pleased to announce the award of the Diplomatic Service Medal to 3 lawyers who worked to win a landmark case in the protection of artistic and cultural treasures that were on loan by Ukraine to a museum in the Netherlands when Russia illegally occupied and attempted to annex Crimea, laying false claim to these pieces. Their legal victories on behalf of Ukraine in the both lower court then Court of Appeals reflect, well, not only their legal skills, but reinforce the important role states play in protecting cultural artefacts and artistic treasures from being destroyed, lost, looted, or become missing. We announce the conferral of the Diplomatic Service Medal to Mr. Gert Jan van der Berg of the Netherlands, Mr. Martin Sanders of the Netherlands, and Mr. Sergei Kozakov of Ukraine. Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, is a private sector publication with no connection or funding from any government. Preserving our independence is essential to our editorial stance. We therefore rely on the generosity of sponsors and patrons for our operations. We would like to pay special tribute to Gowan Motors, the exclusive Irish dealer of the incomparable DS automobile. The DS brand is the iconic luxury automobile made in France. Made available exclusively through Gowan Motors on the Navan Road, the DS7 and DS3 offer Irish drivers the same luxury, superior engineering and craftsmanship that 7 presidents of France have enjoyed since the first DS was introduced in 1959. The DS7, the next generation SUV, the DS3 Crossback and the DS3 E-Tense all-electric automobile. Book your test drive today and get to know the premium automobiles France has enjoyed for decades. DS Automobiles is pleased to be the sponsor of the 2021 Diplomacy in Ireland Awards, celebrating the experience, skill and relationships that help make our world a better, safer and more prosperous place to live. DS Automobiles, the spirit of avant-garde.
My name is Oksana Shadrina and I'm happy to be the chair of the awards committee. I'm happy to appreciate the tough and very important work that diplomats do here in Ireland and all over the world. It's really very important, and their work keep us peace and in peace and in safe. And I would like to thank you, all of them.
On behalf of Diplomacy in Ireland, the European Diplomat, we'd like to thank you for having joined us this evening for our annual awards celebration of diplomats. Diplomats do so much for us, often behind doors, but always for our good. They make our world a better place, and their role is critical, and we are glad to celebrate it. We'd like to thank our partners throughout the years, whether they're Polonaise or whether they're Turkish Airlines. And tonight's sponsor of our awards program, DS Automobiles, a finer car you'd not find. And it's one fit for a French president, and we hope for your family. Thank you for having joined us. We'll see you in the new year. Stay safe.